Hey there, welcome back to Badass List Building. We're still in Module 2, creating your lead magnets. And here in Lesson 4, we're talking about PDF lead magnets. This is obviously kind of the most common type of lead magnet that people offer is a simple PDF of some sort. So it's some kind of static document delivered in PDF format to people after they've opted in. That's what we're talking about in this lesson because it really is the most common. So we want to talk about how to create PDF lead magnets that will have your people excited. Now, the truth bomb is that you've probably downloaded some really crappy PDF lead magnets, but don't discount how valuable they can be. In other words, I don't want you to say, hey, I've downloaded PDFs and they're just useless, so I don't want to create one. My answer to that is don't create a worthless one. Create a wonderful PDF. You really can create some wonderful PDF lead magnets if you take the time, and we're going to talk about how to do that in this lesson. So PDF lead magnets are really a great place to start, especially when you're kind of starting out with list building because they're simple to create and easy to use. In other words, they shouldn't take you a ton of time to create one. That they're the easiest for you, the least heavy lift, I guess we could say, in creating lead magnets, but also they're easy to consume for people. If you create the right kind of PDF lead magnet, it's the kind of thing that your audience can, consume in 5 minutes and get into action. So remember back in lesson 2, we talked about one of the things you generally want is for your PDF to be actionable. Well, PDFs are generally actionable because they're helping people quickly consume them and start taking action. So that's why they can be great. Now, you don't have to start with a PDF freebie. If you want to start with a different kind, you can, but I want you to understand that when you're starting out, a PDF probably should be the first type of freebie that you create. You probably should not jump straight from no freebie to a quiz or a mini course or something more complicated because there's more moving pieces. There's kind of more things that could go wrong in those other kinds of freebies, whereas a PDF is relatively easy to create. And like I said, it gives you a chance to try things out. And remember from the last lesson we talked about, you're going to have to try out multiple freebies probably before you hit the right one. So you'd rather not invest tons of time into that first freebie. And again, I'm not saying do it badly, but I'm saying you don't want to spend months creating that first freebie and have it flop. You'd rather try something, maybe it doesn't work out, then you try something else. And so it gives you more flexibility. Also, what I want you to get is that PDF freebies really should be your default. In other words, when you're thinking about how to kind of format a new freebie that you're going to create, your default answer should be, I'm going to create a PDF. Unless there is a reason to create a different kind. Now again, this program, BOMU, I couldn't possibly deliver all of this in PDF form. The only way I could deliver this is through some kind of course or course structure. And so that's why I'm not using it. So you will sometimes not go with PDFs, but it should be the default, kind of response in your mind when you're asking yourself, what kind of PDF should I, or what kind of freebie should I create? Your mind should go to PDF unless there's a reason to do something else. The other thing I want you to get is that this is a truly versatile style because there are countless ways to create a stellar PDF lead magnet. In other words, although I'm calling this one lesson about PDF lead magnets, there's a bunch of different things that you can deliver in PDF format, and that's why it's kind of a Swiss Army knife of freebies. Now, we're going to go through those in a second, but first I want to give you this note. You don't need to create all the styles we'll talk about. This is really for inspiration. I'm going to talk through the different styles so you can say, ooh, maybe I want to do that. Ooh, maybe that's what I want to do. Don't feel like you have to create all of them. Just understand this is meant to kind of get your juices flowing and start thinking about what are some ideas that you could create in terms of PDF lead magnets. So let's dive in. The first kind is a checklist. This is kind of the ultimate in getting people into action without a lot of frills. You really can tell people, hey, here's 5 steps, check these boxes and you're moving forward. These tend to be short, sweet, to the point. Leaving out maybe a cover and a few other things, there's 1 to 2 pages of real content in these types of freebies, which if you think about it, that means they are designed for action takers. They're designed to get straight to the point, to get rid of any level of extra information and give people just the information they need to get into action. That's why they can be so great. Now, sometimes you can't come up with a checklist, but if you can come up with a checklist, great, especially if it's not overcomplicated. If you can do 5 steps to, or 5 things every entrepreneur needs, or something like that, it's great. Now, some people will put together these checklists, which are 87 different items. Those are not great lead magnets. Those might have a role later in your process, but that's not how you build a list, because that's not about, those types of guides aren't about helping people take action. They're actually about showing people all the things they need to do so that maybe they will hire you or buy your product to help them do all those things. But your front end checklist for list building should be simple. It should have, a handful of items for them to do that helps them solve a problem. That's why checklists are so good. Again, short, sweet, to the point, get them into action. The next level are guides. These are more involved, obviously, but you can provide more context. So these fit where maybe you need to explain a bit more. It's not a simple checklist. It's not something that people can say, yep, I got it. You have to kind of tell them the why. You have to help them understand a bit more about what you're doing. That's where a guide comes in. It's not a simple, checking boxes, but it's about helping them understand. These tend to be a bit longer, maybe, up to 10 pages, but usually, that would be kind of the upper end of a guide. You don't want to get too long on a guide. You want to keep it short still and actionable, but you can provide more context. So that's guides. Then the next type of PDF freebie is swipe files. If you have anything to do with copywriting or design or anything like that, people love swipe files. So if this will fit into your business model, creating swipe file freebies really is a no-brainer. It's going to get people's attention and it's going to help them take action. And here's the other beauty of it. They're simple to create. You already have these. In my case, I have emails. I have email swipe files that I can easily just take emails that I've sent, put them into a PDF freebie to give people examples of emails to help them understand how I go about writing my emails. And that kind of is something people love. They want that for inspiration. So it's a no-brainer, easy to create, and also something that people love. So if that fits your business model, swipe files can be great. Now, a quick note. Now that we've talked about those, you can also create hybrids of swipe files, guides, and checklists. You could theoretically have an element of all 3. You could combine 2 of them. You get the point. There's no formal line. You can only do a checklist or you can only do a guide. No, you can combine these into kind of a bigger freebie. And often that's helpful. Maybe you have a guide for people who want to learn and then a checklist for people who are like, hey, I'm just the facts. Just give me what I need. So you can combine these different elements into a single freebie to kind of meet different people where they are and with the level of information they need. But those are kind of the simple, straightforward starting level PDF freebies. Now let's talk about a couple that are a bit more advanced. The first is what I would call post reprints. This is if you have a blog, if you're creating kind of pillar content on your blog. So, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 word blog posts. Now, you're not going to do a lot of those, but if you have something, you should then convert that into a PDF too and have it downloadable on that page if people give you their email list. You might be saying, well, why would someone give me their email list if they can already read it for free on the website? Well, the answer is because they might want to take it with them. They might be like, I don't have time to read 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 words right now, but this is good information. I want it. And so it's a way to kind of get that in their hands and let them take it with them. Also, it's simple for you to create the freebie once you've created the blog post. So anytime you create something like this, that is really kind of a pillar piece of content in your business, that is a big old, lots of meat to it type of post or piece of content, convert it into a PDF. And convert, I literally just mean reformat it, make it fit, make it look decent, and put it into PDF form and make it downloadable. And that will be a good way to add some people to your list as well. Now, again, if you're not creating that kind of content, you're not going to do this. I just give it to you as an option so that if you're thinking about adding that kind of pillar content on your page, also think about creating the kind of PDF downloadable as well. Now, the next type is ebooks. This really is kind of about thought leadership. It's about establishing your name out there. Now, when you do this, you've got to make them good because people will judge these. If they're a piece of junk, people will judge you poorly. So they've got to be good. So don't feel that you need to create one of these. Most people will never create an ebook, and that is perfectly fine. But you might be in a space where you want to provide more information, where you want to create an ebook that is kind of a more definitive guide, a more, in-depth guide about something. You can do that. And that's something that some people want. Now, again, understand that that's a bigger commitment from people. They have to say, okay, well, I'm going to have to read more to get value from this. So they might not have it want it as much. At the same time, if you can make it an ultimate resource guide that is easy to navigate, it might be something that people say, well, this is great because I download it now and it's got all of these different subjects in there and will help me at different stages as I'm doing X, Y, and Z. So that's where it can be a helpful thing that people will react to. But kind of an ebook is the last thing. So these kind of, you see how a post reprint and an ebook, they are more advanced because there's more thought that has to go into them. There's more content, etc. And so you shouldn't feel the need to create either one of them, but you can. So just remember that. Now, again, though, I want to make sure that you remember this point. Your lead magnet is not about delivering information. It's about helping people take action. So no matter what, you should not be saying, well, I'm going to create this simply to deliver information. You should be delivering that information at least as a front-end freebie in pursuit of helping people take action. And that's what you should be doing, and that's what's going to make it something that people will want. So with that in mind, after you brainstorm the idea for your freebie, whatever it is, be ruthless in cutting it down to what is essential. This is especially important if you're thinking about creating, a bigger thing, a guide, and you're going to try to make it bigger, or an ebook, you're going to try to make it bigger. If you're doing that, make sure that you're ruthless in saying, do they need this information? Yes or no? And if not, take it out, because you want to make it as, kind of easy to consume and get into action on as possible. So with that in mind, now that we've kind of talked about the content, let's talk about design and how you design PDF freebies. And I just want to give you some basic design principles to keep in mind. Number one, less is more. Don't let your design get in the way of the information. This is actually one of those things I see most frequently. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make is they over-design their freebies. And as a result, the design kind of takes over and people get distracted and don't then actually kind of consume the information. This is a place, especially if you are not a designer yourself, you should be very careful and use less. White space is good on freebies. Having a lot of kind of empty space, good on freebies. So just keep that in mind. Now, the next thing, readable fonts. I just want to be clear on this. A lot of people don't get this, but scripted handwritten fonts are tough for some people to read, so be careful about using them. Just because it doesn't give you trouble to read it, don't assume that other people will be able to read it, especially because you know what the word is, right? You wrote it. I will see a lot of people use, and when I say scripted, it's like the cursive things with a lot of flourish and all that, and I have to stare at it for a while to even read the word. If you do that, you're creating an impediment to people consuming your information, getting into action, and getting value. So even if they get on your list, you're hurting your chances of helping them take action. So you're taking the value away. So just think about that as you're creating it. Now, the other thing, make it printable. When you're creating a PDF, think about how it will look when printed in black and white. This is a big thing. There's a couple things here. Number one, if you have a lot of darker backgrounds, people get mad because you use a lot of their ink. But also you have to think about contrast to make sure that I'm going to be able to print this and still understand it, that I don't have to be looking at it on my computer screen to understand what I'm supposed to be doing. So just think about that from a perspective as well. So those are some basic design principles, but now I want to give you a warning. If you don't have a design eye, if you can't say you can look at stuff and see if it looks good, you should not be starting from scratch to create your freebie. When I was starting out, I would create the content and then hire people off of, I think I used Fiverr. I'm not sure if I used Fiverr or something else, but I would have done that. But luckily, you don't have to do that because that actually cost me, a pretty penny. There are plenty of great options out there for templates that you can use to simplify the process. What I found is nowadays, Canva is obviously kind of become the standard in our space for people using design who aren't designers. And there are a lot of people who have built templates for lead magnets and other things in Canva. So you're able to just get get their template and use that, modify it, etc., to make a good looking freebie or good something else. If you want to go down that route, we recommend a template set by my friend Patrick Sesko. He's in my coaching program, but he is a professional designer who also helped us with our rebrand. He has a template pack for lead magnets, and it includes some bonuses, but it has all of these kind of base designs that you can use to create and customize, take it from kind of this basic template and turn it into something that's really branded your way with your colors, your fonts, your pictures, all of those things. Just to give you a sense, we bought this template pack for everyone in my coaching program as part of a boot camp we did on list building. I just wanted to give people a quick and easy way so that they could create their lead magnets, and everybody loved it. So that's why we recommend it, because we know it works. You can get more info if you need it at bobbyklink.com/Patrick. That's PATRICK, bobbyklink.com/Patrick, and it'll take you over to his page to kind of get some information. And before you ask, yes, this is an affiliate link. I'm very transparent when I use affiliate links, but like I said, we clearly believe in it because we bought it for myself and for all of the members of my coaching program. So that's why we promote it. So if you need help, that's where we suggest. But the big note is don't let design trip you up. Keep it simple to start. Very simple, very straightforward is the way to go with freebies. I'm just, suggesting that you want to, start with something easy that you can do, and you don't want to spend a lot of time creating something from scratch, because that's not your zone of genius if you're not a designer. So once you've created your PDF freebie, one of the things I want to suggest, share it in the Facebook group, the Badass Online Marketers group, for feedback. If you want people to take a look and say, hey, what do you think of this design? What do you think about the content? That group is meant for helping you with things like this. Now, we might not be your ideal audience, but we can definitely look at things like design and help you like that. But if, there will probably be people in that group who serve or who fit within your kind of ideal audience. So hopefully they can give you some feedback on content as well. But feel free to share it in there and get some feedback from people. That's what the community is meant for. So kind of the takeaway, PDF freebies should be the staple of nearly every online marketer's list building efforts because they're versatile and easy to create. So I want you thinking about this. PDF freebies, whether it's checklists, guides, swipe files, really should be the kind of the standard that you use over and over again in building your list. So your call to action, pick one type of PDF freebie to create and create it. Get out there, do the work, and go ahead and create your PDF freebie to see what works, and try it out, put it out there, and see if it's working. Now, in the next lesson, we'll talk about creating and offering templates as your lead magnet. This is near and dear to my heart. One of my longest running freebies is a template, and so I love this idea, and we're going to talk about how to do those and where they fit in the next lesson. So I'll see you there.